those people that they are not decent.
No, but
you're
the one who came up with decent.
I'm telling you that there is nothing much to worry about. Those are get crashers who they saw food and then they get crashed into it to cover up. Then they said we are doing a Raila thing.
In the name
Even Baba does not tolerate such indiscipline when it comes to food. The Luo nation, when it comes to food, we are very respectful, very orderly, very colorful. So those who did that, they received my condemnation. And I urge them, because I saw they were very young people, most of them were young and strong. Let them go to the farm and do some digging. Without rain. Let them grow some yams without eating free food. Nothing is free. Even in heaven, nothing is free.
Bishop.
But see, that is the worry. What happens if they see food again on 20th?
They will be
and they behave the same way.
They'll be beaten
You can't beat everybody with that.
Yeah, you cannot.
I think Canon is talking about the Luos of the 19th century. You know, there's a traditional Luos, but you know, look, so many things have changed. Before, even there was no poverty. Before, there was no orphanage. There was a kingship system. There was nothing like money. You see, the world has changed so much that the decency is talking about is the decency of our great-grandparents. So, who is a Luo? Some of us don't even know a simple ceremony of even their own wedding. There are so many Luos, if you ask them, how is your wedding should be conducted, they don't know. So this thing called typical Luo, how many Luos qualify to be typical Luos? Very few.
On the table tonight.
Is here with us, so
on the table tonight.
Yes, on the table tonight, maybe he's the only one who is.
I think Professor is philosophizer. You know, when you study these philosophy things, everything is given philosophical. We attend funerals almost on a daily basis. Regular basis. You see them. You see they're very typical. They behave very decently. They are very orderly. That's the people I'm talking about. But when you give them a philosophical perspective, you pontificate academically, then you say all those things. But we practically live very decently. And when it comes to food, people are very organized.
My question is this, and I'll come to Bishop. My question is,
yes,
in the name of, they did this in the name of high cost of living, right?
Yes.
And that is a concern of the bishop. They can do that in the name of anything. High cost of living.
Yeah.
Lack of dialogue. They could do that again. So on a serious note, you think we can just dismiss and look at it in a simple way, that those were hungry people in their numbers who collected, who came together, threw out Ezra Chiloba, who had to be protected by the police, and ate the food, and you simply say those were hungry Luos who just went there, saw food, and you said fried food.
Wakili, my brother, you work in this media house, please get the information correctly. The function went on very well. At the conclusion stage, at the tail end, where now people are calling to eat, that is when things went haywire. It was about food. But because it is a behavior that is not encouraged in the Luo community, they are to pretend we are protesting about food. On 20th, there will be no food in the same venue. Those who come out will come out to protest. And the police also will come out to meet them. And it will not be the first protest. We have had always these protests over the years. Some will have their legs broken. Some, like you, will be eating caviar in their own houses. We will, in the evening, go out. Baba will go to Karen and enjoy a nice meal of bambo and ugali, as you enjoy chicken from Kentucky, fried chicken. I don't know what professor will be taking.
He looks like he loves some men.
And my brother will, the bishop will be adding a bit of altar wine after he has eaten. Lakini, these are the guys who will go to the streets. Some of them may end up in the cells, some with broken legs. It has been there since 1990.
Okay.
So whoever will be doing that, get ready.
At least the police are promising, the president is promising to give them security and only saying preservation of life and property. That's where he draws the line, but he's giving them protections. I don't think, we haven't seen violent confrontation on the streets in the last few days.
Like
we haven't.
One, they were stealing the food.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that is worrying, however much we would want to wish it away, because for that incident, it is food. Maybe next week it will be looting. Maybe next week it will be something else. So that is an indication that we are not in a very good scenario when you see people doing such things and there is need to look for a solution to this problem. We cannot wish away problems and then we begin to lament later. I'm still maintaining that there is a problem that needs to be attended to, and we should not bury our heads in the sand.
When you say we should,
Yes.
who are we who should?
Kenya belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to the government or the opposition. It belongs to all of us. So collectively, everybody should do something to see that we are talking or doing something that is pointing at making sure what we think and what we see may happen, it doesn't happen.
I know we'll open this conversation to that, but my concern first is where he's proceeding from.
Yes.
Do you even see a semblance of demonstrations next week on Monday? Do you see it even taking place or taking off?
My brother Ken, I will ask you, you see a political meeting called on a Monday to Friday, and the stadiums are full. That is a very worrying scenario. It means people are very idle. People have nothing to do. Maybe some of them doesn't have jobs. If those people are going to those rallies, then I can tell you I'm seeing people going on streets on Monday.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, what category of people, before I go to Prof, what category of people? People who are jobless, people who are idle, what category of people? Because a process of such magnitude, I'll imagine even us will move to the streets here. Middle class will move to the streets. People who really want something to change, they move to the streets. So once we classify it and say people who are idle, people who have nothing to do, does it make sense at the end of the day?
There will be a lot of categories of people, even opportunists, thieves, smugglers, people who just take advantage of a situation. So many people will join the protest, not really because they are protesting for what the rest are protesting for, but opportunities will come in, and that is where we get now things like looting, you hear things like raping and all that.
Okay.
And this is something that should be abated.
Okay.
Yes.
Prof.
So, Ben, for me, what worries me is that, I am a leader of Operation Indogatuzi, and I have grounds on Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Tana River, all this. So, when I called one of the persons on the ground asking, why are you preparing for demonstration? He told me, Professor, if you are dreaming that Raila will on the seat alone, forget it. People will demonstrate. People will go on the street. Then where I live, the estate where I live, I stood at the gate and asked the security guard, and they told me they are not even coming to work. They will be on the street. So let us be wary that it's going to happen. And I am not sitting here like Canon Weather thinking that the police will stop them. Remember, the police to population ratio cannot hold. You can't hold it.
88,000.
And then, of course, the other thing that you have to remember that is very careful here is what's the strategy that can make make Ruto actually see difficulty. Because what's happening, when Raila is making noise, before he goes to the street, people say, look at Raila. When he goes to the street with the people, and those people gets beaten, the government looks like an aggressor and an oppressor. That will be, now people move away from Raila's issues to the aggression and to the oppression that people will feel. And that will call for the attention of the international community and even religious leaders like them to come to see, will you be sitting back and say Raila is wrong and people are being beaten on the street and they're being hit? That's when now the strategy now that is being taken to President Ruto will realize that this is a different story altogether.
All right. I really love to have this conversation. I don't know why they're cutting me short. There will be holiday on the 20th. Will you take the holiday?
Which holiday? Let's not take some of these jokes too far. And let me tell you,
Raila Odinga is the other person who calls for holidays and they happen. And
that's what I think.
We have been in this country with you.
Which holiday did he call?
We have been in this country.
Let's not reduce it to Raila Odinga. Let me tell the fellow Kenyans, on Monday you will see the move of God. There will be a few skirmishes in the 3 counties you talked about. But here in Nairobi, Machakos, we are now living Machakos County. There will be peace, stability, and progress as usual. So your cousins and your brothers in Siaya, Homa Bay, Migori, they will make some skirmishes. But I think President William Samuel Ruto was elected to do some work, not to do dialogue with Raila.
Okay.
He was elected, we are dealing with issues of cost of living. It must continue putting in policies, economic policies, financial policies that deals with it.
Okay.
So people coming in to say, ignore all that and sit with Raila so that as long as Raila is happy, Kenya is happy. If Raila is not happy, maandamano. There will be the move of God on 20th, and you will see there will be peace and stability. We are coming to an end of these threats of Baba.
Okay.
So I don't see much. These fears you are seeing, they are in your head and in the head of Baba. But in reality, even here, even in Nairobi, there'll be nothing much.
Okay, I'd like to tell you what's happening at UDA, but as I wait for that...
Yeah, what I want to tell him is that, you see, we know that Ruto was elected, for some people say elected. You know that Ruto was elected, he has got the legal license to be ruler of this country, legal license.
President.
But social license to operate is the social blessing you get from the citizens. Does he enjoy it? Raila seems to enjoy that more than Ruto. Do you know why? The gap between Ruto's votes and Raila's vote were very narrow. Presidency is like a car. When you live with the car in the yard, immediately leaves, the value depreciates. So I can even tell you, some of those people who voted William Ruto will not vote for him again if votes were to be done today. Okay. Because there's some dissatisfaction. It's just like once you live with the car, from the car yard, the value goes down. That's the presidency. Immediately held the sword. Some people are not happy. And that is a fact. Raila, because he's not in government, no one is hurting. He can say anything and people begin to love him because any problem that Ruto is giving the country, Ruto takes a hit on it, Raila takes advantage of it.
Okay.
And that's what happens normally. That's why you see people move from Democrat to Republican. You change them, not that because Democrats are better than Republicans, just because one has depreciated while another is appreciating.
Okay,
so that's what happened.
Hold your thoughts, gentlemen. We're coming back. The United Democratic Alliance Party now claims it's not interested in collapsing its sister parties, but rather focused on taking or talking to supporters of those small parties that constitute Kenya Kwanza to cross over to the ruling party UDA. Speaking when he received defectors from the former ruling party KANU, UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala said UDA is marketing